Hello everybody and welcome back. So this is sort of like a follow-up video to the last video that I did where I talked about creating a garden on a budget. So this is a video about the top 10 plants that I think you need in a tropical / exotic style garden here in the UK. So I'm going to run down through some of the plants that I've got here that I think that you need to grow in your garden. Right, so let's get straight in. At number 10. So at number 10 I've gone for the bamboo. And I have to say, I don't actually like bamboo. And the reason why is because of its reputation for spreading and running all over. It sort of like scared me off it a bit. I know that you can get clumping types, and there's clumping types and running types, and a lot of them are pretty well behaved. But yeah, I just got put off by them. They're not for me. So, but I can appreciate them. They are really nice plants, and especially when if you sort of like strip the cane to leave the bare canes, so you get the coloured. This is a Phylostachys nigra with the black canes, but you can get yellow canes, blue canes, all sorts of different types. So they are really amazing plants, and I can appreciate them, but they're just not for me. So that's why they've gone in at number 10. So at number 9 for me, I've gone for the Miscanthus giganteus. Now I'm a really big fan of grasses. Don't like bamboos, but I do like grasses. Grasses do spread out. They just tend to spread out with a clump forming. And like I've said in my last video, you can divide these. You can see in the spring I can lift this up, divide it and spread it around the garden. So what you're doing really when you're buying a grass, you're buying a plant factory where you can just keep producing more and more plants off it every year. Now there's loads of different types of Miscanthus. I grow quite a few here, but this giganteus one is probably the most exotic looking, really tall. I mean, this isn't the best time of year to show it, but you get these big strap-like leaves and it flowers. It's a really nice plant. I won't be without it, and like I say, you can divide that up, spread it round. Really hardy. I mean, you can just, even at this time of year, you can leave these canes on. Now they've had plenty of wind in, they've withstood that, so you get a bit of interest in the winter. And you'll notice in the spring, the birds will take these off for nesting. So yeah, I've gone for the Miscanthus giganteus at number 9. And if you disagree with anything that I'm saying here, or you want to add anything, let me know in the comments. Right, let's have a look at number 8. In at number 8, I've gone for the Melianthus major. These do grow really well for me. They like a well-drained soil, which is what I've got here. As you can see, they do get a bit tatty, and this is wind damage, not cold damage, because when the wind's died down, you can see it's just started growing again from the growth tip. But I mean, do you get any more exotic leaves than these? I mean, these do grow real big leaves. I mean, you can see the clump here. It does spread out a bit, but you can these are really easy from cuttings. This is a cutting for one I've got in the back of the garden. Bit of a problem that they do get a bit leggy and then fall over stuff, but I mean, the leaves are absolutely to die for. So you do need to cut them down, cut them back every few years. You can cut them back. They do flower. If you get a good summer and a nice start to the winter, they will flower for you. But yeah, I love them. I won't be without them. Beautiful little plants, zingy green leaves, and yeah, really exotic looking. So the Melianthus major. At 7, I've gone for the Musa bastiu. Obviously, in January they're nothing to look at, but they are it doesn't really get much more exotic tropical than a banana plant. I had one in here that flowered this year, or last year now. So they do flower up north. But yeah, I mean, they do pup as well, so you can multiply your plants that you've got, but really exotic. Like I said, a banana plant doesn't get much more exotic than that. You can pick them up for cheap now. You can buy them in most places. The only problem is, if you want to keep the height on them, you do need to cover them in the winter. I know for some people that's not really an option, or they don't want to do that, and that's fair enough. That's why it's down at number 7 on my list, because you do have to, they're not fully hardy, you do have to protect them. I mean, if you could just let that die down, it will grow back from the roots, but then obviously you're starting from scratch every year. So yeah, that's why the Mooser is at number 7. At 6 I've gone for the Fatsia. Now you can get the more common hardy ones, which are the Japonica, which you can pick up really cheap from anywhere, or the ones that, or you can get the variegated one, slightly harder to get older but hardy. Well, they are all hardy. I think the most tropical one is this Fatsia polycarpa. Slightly harder to get older. You probably have to buy this online, or I did anyway. Real exotic looking leaves. These deep cut leaves. But yeah, I think a Fatsia is a staple of most exotic gardens. Like I said, you can pick them up pretty cheap, especially the more common ones. They are all hardy, so they are really good plants. So into the top 5 now, and at 5 I've got this Monia softcaress. I've talked about this plant loads. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great little plant. I think it's the only Monia that isn't spiky. I mean, just look at them leaves, real exotic leaves. Nice shade loving plant. You know, you just stick this in and let it go. It does flower. This has flowered recently, nice yellow flowers on it. But yeah, I absolutely love this plant. Got another one in the garden. You might wonder why this is in the top 5, but I just think I won't be without it. Real exotic looking plant, beautiful leaves. Now you really just want to run your hands over them. So yeah, that's Monia softcaress in at my number 5. At 4 I've gone for the agave ferox. I mean, to be fair, I could have gone for any of these agaves. I love all of them that I've got in the ground here, but this is my favourite. I mean, just look at how wide these blades are. Real beautiful agave this. I mean, look at the size of that central sort of sphere. I mean, you do need the winter protection for these. They can stand the cold, but not the wet and cold. So you do have to give them a bit of protection in the winter. But I just couldn't put them any further up list than this, because I absolutely love these agaves. They all survived last winter. You can see a bit of damage on this agave, where the old one down there is going a bit brown, but that'll be no problem, I can just cut that off. But you can see the central bit is really, I mean, look how zingy green that is. So there's absolutely no problems there with that so far. But yeah, I had to get an agave in on here, and that is my favourite. So that's at number 4. At number 3 I've gone for the Camarops humilis palm, European fan palm. Now this might not be the most exciting palm, but I absolutely love it. I mean, it's been in the ground a few years, this one now. Really hardy, didn't get any damage from the last winter. I know I've got one in the arid bed that's spear pulled, but it just carried on growing like nothing happened in the spring and summer. But yeah, I love this plant. I love the trunk on it. That sort of like yellowy trunk. You know, you get the bits coming off on the bottom as well, which you can cut off and leave as a single trunk or leave them on. But yeah, I mean, this is kicking loads of leaves out. It's starting to get a decent trunk on it now. Took a few years, probably about 7 years, to get like this from really small. Yeah, I won't be without this. Absolutely beautiful palm, little ladybird on it in there. Gives an home to wildlife, but you can see loads of fronds coming out at the same time. You can get the cerifera version as well. More bluey leaves on it, which is a beautiful plant. But yeah, the cerifera, I mean, you can get all these in any garden centre. Pretty cheap, really hardy. Put it in, you don't have to do it else with it. So that's why it's at my number 5. At number 2 I've gone for the Tectopanax. I know a lot of people would probably have this at number 1. I've gone for number 2 because it can get winter damaged, but this is an absolutely amazing plant. I mean, we're in January now, it's still got a green leaf on it. Still see another one coming through here, but these do grow massive leaves. I'm sure a lot of people have got these in the garden. Huge leaves, really exotic looking. I mean, this has grown a foot of trunk this year. You can see where the trunk is different. So the trunk came to here last year, and this year it's grown all the way up here. Like I say, you get them huge leaves. And talking about a plant which you can spread about, this does pup. I'm devastated because it hasn't put for me, this one, yet. Hopefully it will. But like, yeah, so you can spread it around your garden, buy one plant and get loads out of it. So yeah, the Tetrapanax papyrifera, you can get the Rex version, which is even bigger. I mean, you can get really big trunks on these and have it as a canopy plant, which I'm hoping what this is going to do. Yeah, definitely won't be without this. I mean, this survived last year for me as a really small plant. Has got a bit of protection from the added bed and the fence and everything here. So I am going to say it's hardy. I know people did lose them last year, but I think they did sprout from the base, a lot of them. So I would say it's an hardy plant. Probably not so cheap. I know they are coming down in price now. They were really expensive when everybody wanted them. And I have seen them in garden centres, so they are pretty readily available as well. So that's why it's going in number one. I've had to do it. I've had to go for the Trachycarpus fortunei. Probably the most grown plant in this country, most grown palm in this country. You can buy it probably in 95% of garden centres. You can get them at good prices, about 50 quid. They're stone cold hardy, unless they're really young. I mean, this one grows a foot of trunk a year for me. I mean, that trunk now, above my head, probably 6.5 foot that now. Like I say, it grows a foot of trunk a year. Look, I mean, look at the size of this trunk. Absolute beautiful plant, 30 trunk, flowers every year. Definitely won't be without this. This is the first exotic plant that I ever bought, this one. And like I said, I mean, look at them canopy plant now. Look at them fronds. Some people don't like them because you do get wind damage. I mean, we've had real strong winds here this year, and there ain't much damage on it. These leaves are going yellow because they are pretty old now. I'll leave them on until they drop off or drop right down. I mean, you just can't beat them. I've got 5 here in the garden, and yeah, you just can't beat them. I'm sure when anybody thinks about starting a tropical garden, when they go to the garden centre, this is what they'll see and this is what they'll buy. Definitely won't be without it. Like I say, it survives anything. The best exotic tropical plant for me, the Trachycarpus fortunei. And like I say, if you think there's anything that I haven't added in this list, or that you think you'd take out or swap or whatever, let me know in the comments. I've tried to go for plants that are cheap to buy, readily available in local garden centres, rather than buying online, because it is better to see the plant yourself before you buy it. Plants that are cheap, plants that are hardy, that you don't really need to know what to do with in the winter. I mean, I know some of them that you've had to, but I've shown that you've had to do winter protection, but I couldn't leave them out. So yeah, just looking for easy beginner plants if you're thinking about starting a tropical style garden. So I'm just going to mention a few plants that I haven't put in, but that were very close. So let's have a look. So the first one is the Paulonia tomentosa. This were very close to getting into the list. They're just slightly harder to get older. Pretty cheap when you find them, but they are slightly, especially for me in the north. I've never seen one of these in a garden centre, only online. Now this is the plant that you pollard. So I pollarded this to this last year, and it's grown all this. You get huge big leaves on it. So yeah, really good back of the border canopy plant. Not evergreen, which is it's alright if it's at the back of the border, but yeah, very close to getting on the list. It's just slightly harder to get older, which is why it's not on there. Another one which were really close, which to be fair I should have put it in, for me, is the olive. Maybe not, doesn't fit into the tropical garden really, more of an arid Mediterranean plant, but I absolutely love the olive plants. To be fair, this were very close to going in. Should have put it in really for me, but yeah, absolutely love the olives. Definitely going to get one of these, another one of these next year. Tree ferns again, probably should have been on that list. Quite slow growing, expensive to buy one with a good trunk on it. I mean, I paid 20 quid for this one, but you're talking years before it'll get a big trunk. So if you're wanting I mean, the more impressive ones are ones with the big trunks, and they are expensive. That's why this didn't quite get onto the list. Minimal winter protection, can get damaged. That one over there of mine did get damaged last year, and it only grew from one side. So they can take winter damage, but that one again very close to getting on the list. Now this is a Jubea chilensis, and when I bought this I paid about 30-40 quid for it, and if you could still get them at that price, this would be on the list. But now they are really expensive, over 100 quid from what I've seen. But beautiful little palms. Did take a bit of damage last year, which again took away from it. I mean, I put the shelter of it, it still took some damage. But absolutely beautiful palms. I bought this one, it was spear pulled. I got it online, didn't know at the time that it was spear pulled. I was new to the exotic gardening then, but it has bounced back really well. So yeah, if you could get them for cheaper, then that would be on the list. And same again for this palm, the Booty Rhoderata. I paid about 35 quid for this, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm kicking myself now, so I should have got a few of these. I mean, now you're talking 150 quid for these, even at this size. I mean, I give it with a little bit of protection, but it don't need it really, because it didn't take any damage last winter, and last winter we had some pretty bad spells. I mean, look at these bluey green arching fronds. I mean, look at that, absolutely beautiful palm. Even the trunk is beautiful. Yeah, so as far as palms go, I don't think it gets much better than this, but pretty hard to get order and real expensive now. That's why it didn't get on my list. And I think one more plant that I'll mention that I don't actually grow here is the Insect Morellii. I know a lot of you will have that in your top 10. I've had a few and I just can't get them through winter, because this is a well-drained, poor soil garden, so they don't grow well enough in the summer, don't grow a big enough trunk to sort of like sustain itself through the winter. So they've always died for me during the winter. So that's why I can't put it on my list. I don't grow it anymore. So that's why the Morellii on the list. Another plant which I don't actually grow now, but I am going to start again, is the ricinus. Again, you can buy one, let it flower, take the seeds off, and they are really easy to grow, the seeds. Germinate next year. I actually grew them in the cardboard bit out of a toilet roll, stick a bit of compost in, stick them in the top, they get a long root run, and I bought one year, then next year I had about 20 in the garden. They just grew really long and leggy for me and snapped off in the wind, which is why I stopped growing them. But now I've got this more protected area at the back. I am going to get another one and get some planted in here where they get a bit more protection. So yeah, the ricinus is a plant that I am going to start growing again. Right, that's it for my top 10 list and a couple of others which didn't quite make the list. So let me know what you think, what have met your top 10, what you take out of mine or whatever. Right, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye.